I'm Insomniac.
And I'm Pops.
And this is Shooting the Shit,
a.k.a. Chatting with Pops.
Alright, so this is episode 16 of Shooting the Shit, a.k.a. Chatting with Pops. And episode 15, that didn't really go over so well.
So you thought...
No, I said it didn't go over so well. I
Wow.
did not. You didn't enjoy it. Towards the end, I didn't enjoy it. And based on the amount of likes that didn't get and comments I got that were kind of on the fence, I don't really think most of you enjoyed it either.
Yeah, I felt like...
That was a flop.
Like a hot potato, but anyway. All right.
So we're back to regular topics this week. We're doing two topics. They're both kind of short topics, and one of which I can't even participate in. So we're putting that one last. But let's see. The first one is from David Carter, and it says, "What is your favorite car or truck, and why?" And keep in mind that we already did an episode on our favorite cars and cars that we've owned. We're not talking about that. This is basically just overall. Could be, you know, stuff that we haven't owned.
Right.
But I guess our favorite car and truck and why, and also why are new cars so often expensive over the last 3 years. So we'll touch on that. And then Neil Brooks wrote to Pops. I'd like to ask Pops what his top 3 pieces of advice are as a parent. He's clearly done a good job. Oh, that's sweet.
Thanks.
He's clearly done a good job with you, and as a father of a teenage daughter, I'm always looking for tips.
Yeah, and I have a daughter as well, and 2 guys.
So,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, so let's get to the car one.
The 2 cars that I really like a lot would be up in my favorite. I mean, there'd be a lot in my favorite, but say way up there would be the Shelby Cobra. This is a really cool car, usually like a kit car, I guess. I just think it's a killer car. Every time I've seen one, I first got acquainted when I saw the movie Hollywood Nights with my brother-in-law, Uncle Mike. Shout out if he even watches these. And he told me all about it, and wow, what a cool car. They're incredible, whether they're sitting still or going. I ain't got a lot to say about it, except I really, it was one of my favorites. Man, would I love to have one of those. And then the truck, I guess, we might even agree on this one, unless you have a different truck, but I'm not too into trucks, but I think I've always liked an F-150. You see a lot of them around, even older ones, and so I'd say a Ford F-150 truck-wise. They would be among my favorite. And the car thing, there's a lot of favorites, but the Shelby Cobra is a cool car. So that's what I got to say. Really, I got a whole lot to say.
I don't like trucks, so we'll start there. If I had to own one, it would obviously be a Ford, so probably the same thing, but I don't like trucks. Right. I think the best car, period, is the Ford Mustang. And I mean the whole line. And that is because, especially after driving the new one, the new S550, which is the 2015 and up, it's just the best all-around car and value for your money that I've ever driven. And it's not just, based on an opinion on a few cars I've had, maybe a couple I've driven. Unfortunately, I was a car dealer for a couple of years, so I've driven just about every make and model of everything you could think of. And overall, the best value for your dollar in terms of reliability, and as far as the new ones, even, comfort, ride comfort, technology. I mean, everything you could want, creature comforts. I think those are the best bang for your buck at this point. And, I mean, even stylistically, they're just incredible. Incredible cars. So I'm sticking with that. And I've owned 4, and I'm hoping to own about another 50.
I have a question. Did I get the question wrong from this guy?
I just justified mine in a different way.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say
because I have there's a list of high-end cars that I think are pretty incredible, but I wouldn't put most Ferraris over a Mustang, and that's because of all of the practicality reasons that you lose, reliability that you lose, etc. So
I was going with a favorite car. Like
no, not wrong.
So I don't have a lot to say on it either, but
yeah, so my favorite's kind of basic. Sorry if that's disappointing, but that's why I've been driving them since I had a license. Love that car. Why are cars so...
here's where it gets sticky.
Why are cars so friggin' expensive over the last 3 years? Well, first of all, let me just say this, though. It's not the last 3 years. Cars have been astronomically expensive and growing at least in the last decade. It's not the last 3 years. But I see your question there. What do you think?
Well, I was saying last night when this topic came up that my feelings about why cars, and let alone most everything, is so high is because, again, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Rob had talked, here we go with the liquor. Oh, my fungal. This ain't even a topic you need to drink. You should have took it last week.
It's for the coffee.
Fungal.
I'm not drinking, the coffee's drinking.
So I think that it's all about, what it is, politics, the ways of the world, inflation. Yeah, we're just getting robbed. Now, I know Rob, we had talked about this a little bit before we got on camera. We're getting robbed. It's that simple. I think that they blame it.
That's way better. You want some?
No, I don't.
All right.
They blame inflation on everything, and that's horseshit. So that's my take on that. It's that simple. I just think, we get screwed. Because to me, I don't see where cars should be any more expensive to build. They're fucking made out of plastic and horseshit and paper mache. Period. So that's my take.
Now I have to ride the middle of what he's saying because to some degree, first of all, unfortunately, I also wasted time going to school for business, so I understand some of those things. And in terms of inflation, that is part of the reason why cars are more expensive now. Part of the reason. So it's not totally an excuse. The way things have shifted have affected the price of expensive things like cars to a large degree. But at the same time, like you were just saying about, I don't see why, it should be more expensive to build a car now. It absolutely shouldn't. No. I mean, the process is extraordinarily simplified and so automated now that cars should be a lot cheaper to build. And in terms of the actual man hours that go into building a car, because it's really not even man hours now, it's robot hours, it probably is cheaper. Now, what I was saying when me and him were kind of discussing this off camera, one of the big things I think contribute to it is the extreme difference now in the amount of technology that goes into a car. And I don't mean the technology that goes into building the car. I mean the useless amount of bullshit technology they stick into the car. And I say useless because some safety things I understand. I would never go backwards with like traction and stability control. Those are good things. Yeah. But, or anti-lock brakes, shit like that. But I mean, 360-degree cameras, and everything talking to you now, and everything being electric. Even your steering wheel. On a lot of you driving new cars, your steering isn't even attached to the wheels anymore. Those are that's all electronic. Everything is.
But all cars are too expensive. It ain't just like that,
Yeah, but all cars have technology in them now. They all have the. I would like to have cars that have like a technology pack and a not technology pack. This way I can get the one that's 10,000 cheaper that has nothing in it. So you could have one that has all the technology shit in it, one that doesn't. I just want, like I said, your standard safety features and, air conditioning and the car to look awesome. And that would be fine. Who needs a backup camera? Learn how to park, lane departure warnings. You got cars that stop themselves. Yeah, a lot of the shit that people are paying for in a lot of cars now is basically shit that you should just learn how to do yourself.
But you just said that the cars have been way expensive for way longer than 3 years. And we haven't had half those technologies. It's bullshit. We just get hammered, and it's all about, it's all about business. You brought it up. It's all about Wall Street. It's all about screw you. And that, that's my take from the beginning to the end.
And some of it's, a lot of it's politics and import-export policy and taxes.
That too. Some of those cars should be $3,000. You still got to pay, like, in the tens of thousands. Like, well, for what?
Yeah, a lot of it's
freaking Fiat. Some of these, I don't know.
And then you have to look at where the cars are made. That's why a Hyundai here is so cheap. They're built in Georgia, either Georgia or South Carolina. No, maybe South Carolina.
I like Hyundais.
Meanwhile, most American cars are built in Canada or Mexico. Or if you're a Chevy lover, unfortunately, half of that shit's made in China and shipped over.
Yeah, keep it.
So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes reasons why cars are astronomically expensive.
Well, we're getting screwed.
Partially why I haven't owned a new car yet.
Well, sucks.
So yeah, it does suck.
Am I on to?
Oh yeah, parenting tips. I'm just gonna zone out on this one.
What's his name? I forgot. I'm sorry.
Let me look it up. Neil Brooks.
I'm sorry, Neil.
Yeah, he called you Dave. It's all right.
I'm sorry.
Well, the last guy was Dave. That was David Carter.
Oh, okay. Dave was all right.
Yeah.
So Neil, first and foremost, God. Always putting God in our family. Always putting God in the mix. Always knowing that we can't do anything without God. I believe I've raised my children that way. You know, we used to consistently go to church. That's number one. Number two, I believe that I've always had a pretty close relationship with Rob. You know, just so many things in common. He was first child, had a few years before his brothers and sisters and sister. So, you know, I bonded with him right away. There was the music, there was car, there was a, you know. So, but I did that, you know, I made a conscious choice to do things, to spend time with my son, to teach him things, to start right off young, listening to him, having fun, being a little crazy, but not too crazy, knowing when to be friends and then to have boundaries. I was good at that. You know, I was definitely cool with the kids and had a lot of fun. I knew how to be a parent and say no when I had to say no and have a boundary. You know, and I have a daughter, and, you know, my daughter, you know, was like the apple of my eye in that I have one daughter. And, you know, I used to have...
the one we threw up on screen last week.
Danielle. Another shout out to Danielle.
There you go.
You know, and I used to have, like, when she was little and even until she got a little older, I would specifically have dates with her, you know? I remember the first date...
I'm sure you guys used to go on date nights.
Yeah. I remember our first date, she was... I don't know, she was even out of diapers yet. She might have just been. But, you know, she was in a little dress, and she was my little doll. And, you know, I took her, and she remembers exactly what she ate. We were talking about it recently. I had a hot dog. You know, and I took her to the diner, and we sat, and I talked with her. And, you know, I don't know, we took a little walk by our house. You could look at New York. We looked at New York. We never forgot that. And we had that pretty consistently. You know, we'd go have our little date night. And even as she got older, hey, Dad, you know, we haven't done it in a while now, but you know, that's something I did with her. I showed her how a man should treat you. I talked with her, and you know, and we took her out, and you know, treated her like my princess. Like, and that's the way I know I've heard her speak to men like that. Yeah, my father treated me like I'm a princess. That's the way I want to be treated. And so I think
somebody sent me an insane cigar deal. So sorry that I'm doing.
Oh, that's great. That's
I have
great.
to buy these
Look,
now.
All right, but that's all right, Neil. I think that was 2. But 3 to wrap it all up, you know, just being there for them, you know, being there. I was always there. I had some problems in my life, but I was always there. I may not have been as present. Fact, yes. And I may not have been as...
facts with an S. That's how you do it these days. When shit's true, you gotta go facts.
So, you know, and I always kept, again, a really good open relationship with my kids, spent time with them. So I think that might even be more than 3. I don't know how many it is. But thank you for that question, and I hope it helps you. You know, and thank you for saying, you know, I did a good job. I think I did. Like I said, and I'll end with this. When Rob turned all this off, and when the viewer passed away, and he told you how he felt about you, I was pretty choked up, and I said, man, that's a stand-up thing to do. I know that's the type of guy I am. You know, we screw around here, and I carry on. I'm not playing a character there. That is me. But what you're seeing right here today, and this last part of the topic, this is who I am. I'm a real guy and always keep it real. So I hope that helped you. And thank you for the question. Made me think back to some great things with my children. And, you know, like I said, my boys, even my youngest son too, you know, get him in the car, carry on, do some fun, crazy things, you know.
You want to give me your debit card instead, or?
Oh, he's funny.
We were talking about how much we're awesome kids. You might want to buy me these cigars here.
Holy crap.
They're $1.
Oh my God, in the middle of this wonderful ending, he's ordering cigars. Okay, we're gonna go now.
Oh, so this was what episode was this?
16, remember?
We're still recording, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So this is episode 16 of Shooting the Shit, a.k.a. Chatting with Pops. Yeah, this wasn't a bad episode. It was not nearly as ridiculous as the last couple, but they were good, you know, discussion topics, especially the last one, which I'm sure that I gave you really great insight on that one.
We ain't here
by not doing anything.
Jerk around and be funny.
No, I know.
This is good.
But that's good. But I'm glad that You guys submitted these topics. I was kind of not running dry on topics, but people weren't really submitting much. And the last time I put something up, I got a lot of good new topics. And as I always say, you know, we don't throw out the topics we don't use. They're all still on the list. We're going to try to get to them as, you know, when we can. And so thank you for participating. For the people who this video gets shared with, who you're not a patron, if, you know, you want to support this channel, you want to throw us a buck, you want to get the direct emails to these every week that we do it, and all the other stuff that is exclusive on my channel. The link will be at the top of the video description. Sign up on that Patreon page. And for everybody else watching this is a patron-only episode, but next week, episode 17 that'll be, that's actually a public, because like you guys know, once a month I do a public episode to try to, you know, get some new eyes here.
Yep. I am now able to respond to your comments. If you pay attention, I have been responding. I wasn't for the longest time. Last few weeks I set up, I guess that's an account, and I'm in there making my comments. So look for me there. And
yeah, so if there's anything you guys want to, you know, direct directly to Pops, you can, because he can now answer you directly.
He's still screwing around. Unbelievable.
All right, see you guys next week.
Roll the Insomniac thing.